Good morning, guys. So today we're going to take a look at conjunctions. If you didn't know, conjunctions are all about joining. In this case, these are going to be used for linking words, phrases, and clauses. Today, the first one we're going to look at is coordinating conjunctions. Use coordinating conjunctions to join individual words, phrases, and independent clauses. So in this case, we're looking at, for example, and, right there. That's joining individual words. So limes and lemons. They're saying that both of them are sour. So for example, if I wrote lemons are sour, and I also wrote limes are sour, then I can join them both together to make lemons and limes are sour. Down here, the next one they look at, they talk about the idea of using it to join two sentences together. I like to go hiking in the woods. The trees give a lot of shade. So they use the word for to join two sentences. When they join two sentences, they're calling them clauses, as you see right there where it says independent clauses. We could say I like to go hiking in the woods for the trees, and the for is being used to say the why. Over here, down below, we have Quinn spent the weekend riding his bike and watching movies. Now here we have two phrases, riding his bike, watching movies. Phrases simply mean part of a sentence. So phrase, like I said, part of a sentence. So, for example, what they're saying here is that Quinn spent the weekend watching movies. Also, though, Quinn spent the weekend riding his bike. So two phrases, riding his bike, watching movies. They used the word and to join the two parts. They simply didn't repeat the phrase spent the weekend. Okay? So, that is the basic idea of coordinating conjunctions. They work together. One more time. Coordinating conjunctions, they in some way or another work together. They are equal parts of a sentence. Could be, like I said, could be words. So, for example, if I'm over here, I could simply write something like Tom is nice. Tom is kind. I use coordinating conjunction and it turns into this. Tom is nice and kind. That's pretty simple. A phrase. Let's take a look at a phrase for a second. A phrase will work like this. 3C students are working at home. Okay? Then I could say also 3C students are bored at home. I bet both are true for you guys, right? So we would join it together. I have two phrases, bored and working. Or actually, more accurately, I have sorry guys, I have two ideas, two adjectives. So, I'm going to change it slightly. Working hard at home and bored silly at home. So here I go. I'm going to try and join them together. And I'm going to still use and. Okay? So I'm going to say like this. 3C students are working hard and Oof, bad handwriting, Mr. Johnston. Sheesh. So I'm going to erase this a little bit here, make it look nicer for you guys. It's a little hard with this stylus I'm using. That's my excuse. Working hard and bored, silly at home. Okay, so as you notice, I've got count them, two phrases. Working hard, bored, silly. Okay, so that's what I mean by this one. That's what a phrase looks like. Now, let's take a look at one more. Okay. Try again. There we go. Okay, guys. So let's take a look at a new one, and I'm going to just erase. We're going to go with the idea of, well, I think you guys understand the idea of the clauses and sentences, okay? So this time, we're going to look at one other one now. I'm going to go back to where I was, over here. So we've talked about coordinating conjunctions. Now let's take a look at one more, subordinating conjunctions. This one's a little bit different, okay? Subordinating conjunctions. Use subordinating conjunction, for example, after, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, then, that, though, till, until, when, where, whether, and while, to introduce the dependent clause, to show the relationship among the independent clauses and the dependent clause. If you remember, clause, it's basically a sentence inside a sentence. Okay? So, dependent, right there, is meaning that it works with another phrase, another clause. Meaning, in other words, you have to have the independent clause for the dependent clause to work. So, for example, here, we read the sentence, after the rain stopped, Olivia went outside to play. So, Olivia went outside to play after it introduced the dependent clause, after rain stopped. Basically saying, when did Olivia go outside to play? After the rain stopped. Listen to me say that again. When did Olivia go outside to play? After the rain stopped. So I'm saying that, and I'm listening again. When did Olivia go outside? That's really important to remember that one. Okay, guys? There's a clue in there. All right, let's move down to the next one. If my team wins this game, it will move on to the finals. So there's a subordinate conjunction, if. Dependent clause is wins the game. My team wins the game. So why will the team move on to the finals? Only if the team wins the game. That's the important thing. Team has to win the game for the other one to happen. So we have if and then. Okay? Another one. Jubilee jumped out of her chair when the cat scared her. So now the dependent clause, any ideas? If you notice here, it says when the cat scared her. Right down there. So in this case, why did Jubilee jump out of the chair? The cat scared her. When did she jump out of the chair? Well, when the cat scared her. In other words, we're looking at a similar idea as after. Excuse me. After and when both work on the same idea. These are both, we're talking about here, when, after, and others work on time. In other words, one happens first and then next. So dependent clause sometimes works on simply the idea of an order. All right? So remember that. It might work on order. Another one is this one here. Todd had to walk home from the park because his bike had a flat tire. So subordinate conjunction because is talking about why. So we have three ideas here. We have time, after, when. We also have before, since, then, until. But then we also have other ones about if or why. So let's go back to over here again. Now I'm trying to get a new page here, guys. Taking a little bit of time. Okay. Okay. Now, let's look at another page. I appreciate you guys being patient with me on this one here. Okay, so we're talking about subordinate. So we have three groups. Time, so it means like when, after, then, and such like that. We have because, we have why. Because, or we could call them cause and effect also. Last one, of course, is if, my favorite. So let's take a look at a couple of them. So, for example, in this case, I might say something like, after I finish the video, I will read a book. Okay? I have two clauses. I finished the video and I will read a book. I use after to show the order of the two. Another one could be like this one. In this case, of course, by the way, after the dependent clause is I will read a book. The independent is I finish the video. In other words, this after causes this one. Another one would be like this one. I will read my book until I have to cook dinner. Until I finish cooking dinner. Honestly, it doesn't quite make sense as a sentence, but hey, it does talk about the idea of being an independent and a dependent clause. Meaning, in other words, until changes when I finish reading, when I read my book. I'm going to stop reading my book when dinner is finished cooking. Okay, now I apologize for my handwriting. I'm looking at this, and this is really messy. I still like to blame my stylus for it. It's nothing special, but I'm hoping that it helps you guys understand what you're seeing here. Okay, I'm gonna fix up some of my handwriting so you know that I'm not really this messy. Well, I'm not great, but still. Okay, now the next thing. Let's go back to our work over here. There we go. So now we have this page here. You have 5 questions to go through. If you look at them, this one here, for example, Brian can either go to the mall with his friends, blank, he can stay home at them and watch the movies. Either is adjoining with someone other one. I'll be honest, sounds like they're choices. Sounds like they work together, which sort of shows you an idea of what sort of idea. They work together, not one is in charge of the other one. What I mean by that is conjoining. Let's take a look at it one more time to remind you. Coordinating conjunctions work together. Okay? Subordinating conjunctions, one is the boss, you could say. Okay, so going back to question number 1. In other words, this first clause right there is actually saying that it's it's joining with it. It's working together with the other one. He can stay at home and watch the movies. So, he has two choices. Which one do you think could work with the idea of choices? When, or, yet, or nor? Alright, question 2. Blank the school year ends, my family will go on a road trip. Does that sound like they work together? Or one of these clauses, the school year ends, my family will go on a road trip. Which one do you think, do they work together as clauses, or is one the boss of the other one? Also looks at the time related. Okay? Which one of these could be time related? So, how, while, or after? Okay, so we have questions 3, which is very similar to the other one. In this case, you have to change this one, 4, to the correct coordinating conjunction. Meaning, in other words, they're working together, the sentences. The singing of the choir can be heard in a church. Everyone seemed to like its sound. Now, the thing is it with, and, so, or nor. Question 4. This one is select a conjunction that should be replaced in the passage. In other words, one of these blue words is not a good choice. If we arrived home, we saw a box sitting on the porch. Remember, if is talking about is something happens only when the first one happens. Okay? Mom picked it up and saw that it was from Aunt Hilda. This one's joining. These two parts are equal, they're saying, when we use and. If that makes sense, that's a good one. Mom opened the box. I could see another box on the inside, and it was wrapped with pretty paper. On top of this box, there was a note that said, for Lily on her birthday. Mom handed the box to my little sister. As she sat on the floor, Lily quickly tore off the paper. As is again working on the idea of a dependent, and it's also saying that it's happening at the same time in a way. In other words, where is Lily? She's on the floor. Lily smiled when she pulled out the most beautiful doll I'd ever seen. What this one here is saying, why did Lily smile? Does that make sense? So one of those is going to be the wrong one. There's a definite reason why. Oops. Okay. Question 5. Which sentence is written correctly? I need to finish my homework before I watch TV. I love to read books, so they have good stories. As I save enough money, I can buy a racing car. Until I get scared at night, I turn on my flashlight. I'm going to mark those not prepositions. I'm going to mark the conjunctions in there. We have before, though, as. Unfortunately, for some reason, this is not let me get to number D. So I'm going to move that out, and the other one is until. Alright. Anyways, I'm going to stop here for this one. I hope you guys had a good time listening to me read to you. Stay tuned for more stuff. Also, with this video, I'm going to link to a YouTube video of one of my favorite little animations about conjunctions. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Look forward to seeing it. Okay, guys? Talk to you later.